The fluorescent lights in the hospital billing office felt like tiny suns burning into Elena Rodriguez's skull. She stood at the counter, her bright blue nurse scrubs wrinkled from her double shift, watching the woman behind the desk type with mechanical precision. "I'm sorry, Miss Rodriguez, but without the payment, we cannot continue your mother's chemotherapy treatments. The balance is now $68,000. Elena's hands trembled. $68,000. She had $300 in her checking account. Her mother, Patricia, was in stage 4 cancer. Without treatment, the doctors gave her 3 months. With treatment, maybe 2 years. Maybe more. "There must be something," Elena whispered. "A payment plan. Anything." The woman's face remained blank. "You're already on a payment plan. You've missed 3 payments. I'm very sorry, but policy is policy." Elena walked out of that office knowing she had run out of options. She had sold everything she owned. She worked 3 jobs. Her younger brother Ramon sent what he could, but he was barely surviving himself. Their small apartment in the Mission District was 1 month away from eviction. She had applied for 23 loans. All denied. That evening, Elena sat in her mother's hospital room, holding her thin hand. Patricia was sleeping, her breathing shallow. The 4 drip was the last bag they would give her without payment. "I'll find a way, Mama," Elena whispered. "I promise." Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost ignored it, but something made her answer. "Is this Elena Rodriguez?" A man's voice, cultured, older. "Yes." "Who is this?" "My name is Leonard Kim. I'm an attorney. I have a proposition for you that might sound unusual, but I assure you, it's legitimate. Can you meet me tomorrow morning at 10? The address is 2401 Pacific Avenue." Elena's heart raced. Pacific Avenue. That was Pacific Heights. Old money. Real money. What kind of proposition? One that could solve your financial difficulties. Completely. But we must discuss it in person. She should have been cautious. She should have asked more questions. But desperation makes you brave in ways fear never could. "I'll be there." The mansion at 2401 Pacific Avenue looked like something from a movie. White columns, perfectly trimmed hedges, a view of the Golden Gate Bridge that probably cost more than most people earned in a lifetime. Elena wore her only good dress, a simple red cotton dress she had bought at a thrift store 3 years ago. Leonard Kim answered the door himself. He was Asian, late 60s, with kind eyes behind silver-rimmed glasses. He wore a gray suit that probably cost more than her rent. "Miss Rodriguez. Thank you for coming. Please follow me." He led her through marble hallways lined with artwork into a bright sitting room. Floor-to-ceiling windows flooded the space with morning light. Sitting in a burgundy armchair was an elderly man. He was tall, even sitting down, with white hair and pale blue eyes. He wore a navy suit and looked both tired and alert at the same time. "Elena Rodriguez," Leonard said. "This is Harrison Sterling." Elena knew the name. Everyone in San Francisco knew the name. Sterling Industries. Real estate, technology investments, philanthropy. Forbes listed his net worth at $2.3 billion. "Please sit," Harrison said. His voice was gentle, not what she expected from a billionaire. "Would you like coffee? Tea? Water is fine, thank you." Leonard poured her a glass from a crystal pitcher. She noticed Harrison's hand shook slightly as he reached for his own glass. "I'll be direct," Harrison said. "I'm dying. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. I have perhaps 6 months, maybe a year if I'm fortunate. I'm 73 years old. I've had a good life, built something meaningful, but there are loose ends." Elena didn't know what to say, so she stayed quiet. "I have a daughter, Vanessa. She's 45 and all she cares about is my money. I've watched her waste every opportunity, treat people terribly, and count the days until I die. My will leaves most of my estate to charity, but there are legal complications. Vanessa is contesting it. She has lawyers. She will tie up my foundations for years after I'm gone." He paused, took a sip of water. "There's an old clause in my family trust. If I'm married at the time of my death, my spouse has automatic authority over the estate distribution. It supersedes any challenge. It was written by my grandfather to prevent exactly what Vanessa is trying to do." Elena's mind raced ahead, not quite believing where this was going. "I'm proposing a contract marriage," Harrison said simply. 1 year or until my death, whichever comes first. In exchange, I'll pay all your mother's medical bills. Every penny. I'll clear your debts. I'll pay you a salary of $20,000 a month. When I die, you'll receive $5 million in this house." The room spun. Elena gripped the arm of her chair. "Why me?" "Leonard has been researching people in difficult situations. People with integrity despite their circumstances. You work 3 jobs. You've never missed a shift. You donate to the food bank every month even though you barely eat. You visited Mrs. Chen next door every day until she died, even though she wasn't family. You're kind. That's rare. I don't understand. You could hire anyone. Pay someone less. Harrison smiled, a real smile that reached his eyes. I don't want someone who will pretend for money. I want someone who will be kind to a dying old man. I think you will be. And I think you'll honor my wishes after I'm gone. Am I wrong? Elena thought about her mother. About the treatments. About Ramon's art supplies he couldn't afford. About sleeping without nightmares of debt collectors. What do you need me to do? Marry me. Live here. Keep me company. Let me get to know you. When I'm gone, work with Leonard to distribute the estate as I've planned. That's all. When would this happen? The wedding would be in 2 weeks. City Hall, simple ceremony. Leonard has the contracts ready. You can have your own attorney review them. I'll pay for that too. Elena looked at Leonard, who nodded. She looked back at Harrison. He didn't look cruel. He looked tired and sad and strangely hopeful. Your mother's treatments can restart tomorrow, Harrison said quietly. The hospital called me this morning. I've already arranged to cover the full balance and all future treatments. Regardless of your answer, that won't change. But I hope you'll say yes. Elena's eyes filled with tears. You already paid? I did. Why? Because your mother is dying and I can help. That's reason enough. Every logical part of Elena's brain screamed that this was crazy. But her heart, the part that had been breaking for months, felt something shift. This man, this stranger, had saved her mother's life before she even agreed to anything. Yes, Elena said. I'll marry you. Harrison's face relaxed. Relief, genuine relief. Thank you, Elena. Truly. Leonard opened a folder. Let's go over the details. Have you ever been so desperate that a stranger's kindness felt like a miracle? What would you have done in Elena's situation? Would you have trusted Harrison? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for the next chapter. This story will take you places you never expected. The contract was 47 pages long. Elena sat at Harrison's dining room table, the late afternoon sun streaming through the tall windows, while Leonard explained each section. Her head spun with legal terminology, but the core was simple. Marriage for 1 year or until Harrison's death, complete confidentiality, and in exchange financial security. The medical expenses are separate from the contract, Leonard explained, sliding a separate document across the mahogany table. Mr. Sterling has established a trust specifically for your mother's care. Full coverage, any treatment, any facility for the rest of her life. That continues even if, well, regardless of circumstances. Elena stared at the paper. She had to read it 3 times before the words made sense. Her mother would never worry about treatment again. I don't know how to thank you, she said to Harrison, who sat across from her, sipping tea from a delicate china cup. No thanks necessary. Your mother deserves care. Every mother does. His voice was steady, but Elena caught something in his eyes. Loss maybe. Old grief. Did you lose your mother to cancer? She asked softly. Harrison nodded. 40 years ago. We couldn't afford the treatments then. I watched her suffer. I swore if I ever had money, I'd never let that happen to anyone else if I could prevent it. The room felt heavy with shared understanding. Elena reached across the table and touched his hand. His skin was papery cool. He looked surprised, then grateful. Then this helps you too, Elena said. That makes it easier to accept. Leonard cleared his throat gently. There are other provisions you should understand. You'll have your own bedroom suite. No expectations of intimacy. You're free to come and go, though we ask that you spend at least 4 evenings a week here for appearances. Mr. Sterling will introduce you to his social circle gradually. Vanessa will be informed after the wedding. What about my jobs? Elena asked. She worked as a home health aide, a grocery store clerk, and drove for a rideshare company at night. You'll need to quit them, Harrison said. I know that feels strange, but you'll be my wife. People will notice if you're still working 3 jobs. Plus, I'd like your company. If you're willing. We can talk, play chess, watch movies. I spend a lot of time alone. The loneliness in his voice was unmistakable. Elena realized this arrangement wasn't just legal maneuvering. This man was dying and didn't want to die alone. I'd like that, Elena said, and meant it. Your salary begins immediately, Leonard continued. $20,000 a month, deposited on the 1st. Your brother's student loans, $17,000, have been paid off. Your credit card debt, 12,000 cleared. Your back rent settled. You have a clean slate as of this morning. Elena's throat tightened. Ramon's loans? You didn't have to. You mentioned him when we spoke on the phone with Leonard yesterday. You said he was talented but drowning. I looked at his work online. He is talented. He should focus on art, not debt. How can I ever repay this? Harrison's expression grew firm, though not unkind. By accepting it gracefully. By understanding that I have more money than I could spend in 5 lifetimes, and using it to help people brings me joy. Don't diminish that joy by refusing or feeling guilty. Just be grateful and let it change your life. That's the repayment. Elena nodded, blinking back tears. Okay, I'll try. Good. Harrison smiled. Now, Leonard has arranged for a shopping trip tomorrow. You'll need appropriate clothing for being Mrs. Sterling. Nothing too extravagant but quality pieces. My assistant Julian Hayes will accompany you. He has excellent taste and won't let you be uncomfortable. I have clothes. Elena. Harrison's voice was gentle but pointed. This is part of the arrangement. You'll be attending charity events, dinners, possibly interviews. You need the right wardrobe. Accept the help. Please. There was that word again. Please. A billionaire saying please to her. Okay. Thank you. Leonard packed up his briefcase. I'll file the marriage license tomorrow. The ceremony is scheduled for Thursday, 2 weeks from today at City Hall. 10 in the morning. You can invite up to 4 guests. I'll invite my mother, my brother, and my best friend Amber, Elena said. That's all I need. Mr. Sterling will have myself and Julian present, Leonard said. Small and private as requested. After Leonard left, Harrison asked if Elena wanted dinner. She agreed, and they ate in a smaller dining room overlooking the garden. The food was simple but delicious. Roasted chicken, vegetables, crusty bread. Harrison ate slowly, carefully. The treatments make everything taste like metal, he explained. But this cook, Mrs. Patterson, she knows how to season things so I can actually taste them. How long have you known? Elena asked. About the cancer? 6 months. I did 2 rounds of chemotherapy. It bought me time but didn't cure anything. I'm doing palliative care now. Managing symptoms, not fighting anymore. I'm at peace with it. Are you scared? Harrison considered the question. Sometimes. Mostly I'm sad about what I'll miss. Sunrises. Good coffee. The garden in spring. But I've lived well. I've loved. I've built things that will last. That's more than many people get. Did you ever marry? Before, I mean. Once. Caroline. We had 30 beautiful years together. She died 8 years ago. Stroke. Very sudden. His eyes went distant. She would have liked you. She always said kindness was the only currency that mattered. Elena felt the weight of stepping into this man's life, his history, his grief. I'll do my best to honor this. I promise. I know you will. That's why I chose you. That night, Elena went home to her tiny apartment. Her mother was there, released from the hospital that afternoon. Patricia sat on the couch, looking better already, and 4 port in her arm connected to a portable pump for continuous medication. Baby girl, Patricia said, her voice stronger than it had been in weeks. What did you do? Ramon sat on the floor, his laptop open, staring at his bank account on the screen. Lainey, my loans are gone. Just, gone. What's happening? Elena sat down and told them everything. The contract. The marriage. Harrison's illness. The money. Patricia cried. Ramon looked stunned. But neither of them told her not to do it. Is he kind? Patricia asked finally. This man? Yes, Mama. Very kind. Then I'm grateful. To him and to you. Patricia reached for Elena's hand. You're saving my life. I don't take that lightly. Ramon hugged his sister hard. You're incredible. Thank you. I'll make you proud with my art. I swear. Amber arrived an hour later, called by Ramon. She was a nurse at General Hospital, practical and direct. She listened to the whole story, her face skeptical. This sounds insane, Amber said finally. I know. But you've already decided. Yes. Amber sighed. Then I'm with you. If he's even half as good as you say, you're helping each other. That's not shameful. That's survival. Elena hugged her friend. Will you come to the wedding? Obviously. Someone needs to make sure this old man treats you right. They laughed, and for the first time in months, Elena felt light. The crushing weight of impossible debt was gone. Her mother would live. Her brother could create. And she would spend her time with a lonely old man who needed company. It wasn't a love story. Not yet. But it was a beginning. The morning of the wedding, Elena stood in her new bedroom at the Pacific Avenue mansion, staring at herself in the full-length mirror. The room was 3 times the size of her old apartment, decorated in soft cream and gold tones with huge windows overlooking the bay. Her dress was simple but beautiful, knee-length ivory silk with 3/4 sleeves, paired with elegant nude heels. Julian Hayes, Harrison's business partner and assistant, had helped her choose it 3 days earlier. Julian was 35, kind, with dark skin and an easy smile that had immediately put Elena at ease. "You look perfect," Julian said now, standing in the doorway. He wore a charcoal gray suit. "Harrison is ready downstairs. Your family just arrived." Elena's hands shook as she picked up her small bouquet of white roses. "Julian, is this crazy? Really?" He walked into the room, his expression serious. "I've known Harrison for 15 years. He's the best man I've ever met. He's dying, Elena. He knows it. And instead of being bitter, he's trying to do good. You're helping him do that. There's nothing crazy about kindness." She nodded, steadying herself. Downstairs in the bright foyer, Patricia sat in a wheelchair, looking radiant despite her illness. The new treatments were working. Color had returned to her cheeks. Ramon stood beside her, wearing a borrowed suit, his eyes wet. Amber wore a beautiful green dress and gave Elena a thumbs up. Harrison waited by the door in a navy suit with a burgundy tie. He held a small bouquet of pink roses. When he saw Elena, his face softened. "You look lovely," he said simply. "So do you," Elena replied, and meant it. Despite his age and illness, Harrison had a dignity that was striking. Leonard drove them all to City Hall in Harrison's large SUV. The building was busy with couples, tourists, and city workers. They took an elevator to the 3rd floor, to a small ceremony room with white walls and simple wooden benches. A judge, a woman in her 50s with gray hair and a warm smile, greeted them. "Mr. Sterling, Miss Rodriguez. Are you ready?" "We are," Harrison said. The ceremony took 8 minutes. Elena's voice shook when she said her vows, the standard legal words about commitment and faithfulness. Harrison's voice was steady, certain. When the judge pronounced them married, Harrison gently kissed Elena's cheek. "Welcome to the family, Mrs. Sterling," he whispered. Patricia cried happy tears. Ramon recorded the whole thing on his phone. Amber hugged Elena so tight she could barely breathe. "You did it," Amber whispered. "You saved your mama." They took photos on the City Hall steps, the San Francisco skyline bright behind them. Random tourists congratulated them, probably assuming it was a sweet May-December romance. Elena didn't correct them. Harrison had arranged lunch at a restaurant in North Beach, a place with checkered tablecloths and incredible pasta. They sat outside in the warm afternoon eating and talking. Harrison told stories about building his first company in the 1970s. Ramon talked about his art. Patricia laughed more than Elena had heard in a year. "I like your family," Harrison told Elena quietly. "They remind me why I did this." "Did what?" "Chose you. You come from love. That's worth more than people realize." After lunch, Elena returned to the mansion with Harrison while her family went home. She stood in the grand entryway, her wedding ring catching the light. It was a simple platinum band. Harrison wore a matching one. "Your suite is ready," Harrison said. "Take time to settle in. There's no rush for anything." "When do we tell Vanessa?" "Tomorrow. Leonard is arranging a meeting. She'll be difficult. I want you prepared for that." Elena nodded. She had been researching Vanessa Sterling online. Socialite. Divorced 3 times. Constantly in tabloids. Every photo showed cold eyes and an expression of perpetual dissatisfaction. "I can handle difficult," Elena said. Harrison smiled. "I believe you can." That evening, Elena unpacked her clothes into the massive closet. Most of the space remained empty even after Julian's shopping trip. She found a note tucked into one of the dresser drawers in Harrison's careful handwriting. "Elena, thank you for giving an old man hope in his final months. Your kindness is a gift. This house has been quiet too long. I'm grateful for your presence. Sleep well." She folded the note carefully and put it in her wallet. Dinner was quiet, just the 2 of them in the small dining room. Harrison asked about her life before all this. She told him about growing up in the mission, about her father leaving when she was 12, about working since she was 16 to help her mother. "You've had a hard life," Harrison observed. "Not really. I had love. Mama always made sure we knew we were loved. That's more than a lot of people get. You're wise beyond your years. Trauma ages you fast." Harrison laughed, a real laugh that seemed to surprise him. Yes, it does." Later, Elena lay in her enormous bed, unable to sleep. The sheets were soft, expensive. The room was perfectly quiet. Through the window she could see stars, the lights of the city spread below. She was married. To a billionaire. Who would be dead within a year. The thought should have terrified her. Instead she felt something like purpose. She would make his last months good. She would be the companion he needed. And when he was gone she would honor his legacy. Her phone buzzed. A text from Harrison. Are you comfortable? Do you need anything? Elena smiled and typed back. I'm good. Thank you. Good night, Harrison. Good night, Elena. Welcome home. Home. She let the word settle over her like a blanket. Maybe it could be. The next morning, Vanessa Sterling arrived at 10 o'clock sharp. Elena heard her before she saw her. Heels clicking on marble, a sharp voice demanding to know why her father had summoned her. Elena came downstairs wearing dark blue slacks and a red silk blouse, another gift from Julian's shopping trip. She found Harrison in the living room, standing tall despite the obvious pain he tried to hide. Leonard stood beside him, briefcase in hand. Vanessa swept in wearing a designer suit in deep green, her blonde hair styled perfectly, her face tight from what Elena suspected was extensive plastic surgery. She was beautiful in a cold, maintained way. Daddy, what is this about? I have a spa appointment at. Vanessa stopped when she saw Elena. Who is this? Vanessa, this is Elena. My wife. The silence that followed was absolute. Vanessa's face went through shock, disbelief, fury, and calculation in rapid succession. You're what? We were married yesterday. Elena is now Mrs. Sterling. Vanessa's eyes narrowed as she looked Elena up and down. This is a joke. You married some girl? She's young enough to be your granddaughter. She's 26 and kinder than you've ever been, Harrison said calmly. Elena, this is my daughter, Vanessa. Elena extended her hand. It's nice to meet you. Vanessa ignored the hand. What's your game? How much is he paying you? Vanessa, Harrison's voice went hard. You will treat my wife with respect or you will leave. This is about the will. You're trying to cut me out. The will stands as written. Most of the estate goes to charity. You receive a $5 million trust and the Napa property. That hasn't changed. But she gets control, Vanessa spat, pointing at Elena. That's what this is about. The marriage clause. Yes, Harrison said simply. Elena will oversee the distribution according to my wishes. I trust her to do what's right. You've known her for what, 2 weeks? And you trust her over your own daughter? The pain in that question was real, and Elena felt an unexpected sympathy. But Harrison's response was steady. You've shown me for 45 years who you are, Vanessa. Yes, I trust a kind stranger over a selfish daughter. That's a reflection on you, not her. Vanessa's perfect facade cracked. Tears welled in her eyes, though Elena couldn't tell if they were genuine. I'm your family. Then act like it. Be happy I found companionship in my final months. Support my charitable work instead of fighting it. Prove me wrong about you. How long do you have? Vanessa asked, her voice smaller. 6 months, maybe less. Something in Vanessa's expression shifted. Not quite softness, but something close. And then she gets everything? She gets what the will specifies. $5 million in this house. The rest goes to the foundations as planned. Leonard has copies of everything. Vanessa looked at Elena again, reassessing. You're really just being nice to a dying old man? I'm being his wife, Elena said quietly. He's been incredibly generous to my family. The least I can do is keep him company. Company? Vanessa repeated, bitter. I'm his daughter and he needs to buy company. You're welcome here anytime, Harrison said. That hasn't changed. But I won't tolerate disrespect toward Elena. Vanessa stood there, clearly torn between rage and something else. Finally, she turned and walked toward the door. At the threshold, she paused. I'll be watching her. If this is a con, I'll prove it. It's not a con, Harrison said. It's a marriage. Get used to it. Vanessa left, her heels echoing away. Leonard exhaled. That went better than I expected, actually. She'll come around, Harrison said, though he sounded tired. Or she won't. I can't control her anymore. Elena touched his arm. You should rest. That was stressful. Will you stay with me? We could watch a movie. Something funny. I'd like that. They spent the afternoon in Harrison's private sitting room, watching old comedies. Harrison laughed easily, his guard down. Elena found herself relaxing too, not thinking about the strangeness of the situation, just enjoying the moment. This was her life now. Mrs. Harrison Sterling. It was bizarre and unconventional and probably temporary. But sitting there, watching her elderly husband chuckle at a silly movie, Elena thought maybe it could also be beautiful. 3 weeks into the marriage, Elena sat across from Harrison at the breakfast table, morning light flooding the kitchen. Mrs. Patterson had made fresh scones, and Harrison was attempting to eat one despite his reduced appetite. "Tell me about your dreams," Harrison said suddenly. "Not the situation you were in. Before all that. What did you want to be?" Elena sipped her coffee, considering. "A teacher. Elementary school. I love kids and I'm good at explaining things. I had 1 semester of community college before Mama got sick and I had to drop out." "Why teaching?" "Because good teachers change lives. I had Mrs. Washington in 3rd grade. She saw I was hungry, started bringing extra lunch. Never made me feel ashamed about it. She told me I was smart, that I could do anything. I want to be that for other kids." Harrison nodded slowly. "You should go back. Finish your degree. Maybe someday." "No, I mean now. Fall semester. I'll cover tuition. You'll have time, you're not working those other jobs anymore." Elena set down her cup. "Harrison, you're already doing too much." "I'm dying, Elena. Let me do what I want with my money while I'm still here to see it matter." His voice was firm but not unkind. "Education is important. You deserve that chance." She felt tears prick her eyes. "Okay. Thank you." "Stop thanking me. Just tell me what you'll teach." "What subject?" "Reading. Definitely reading. I want to help kids fall in love with stories." Harrison's face lit up. "I have a library upstairs you haven't seen yet. Come on." He stood, moving slowly, and Elena followed him up the wide staircase to the 3rd floor. He opened a door she had assumed was a closet. It was a full library. Floor-to-ceiling shelves, a rolling ladder, comfortable chairs, and a window seat overlooking the bay. Thousands of books, organized by color and size, filled every wall. "Oh my God," Elena breathed. Caroline loved to read. She collected first editions. This was her space. "I haven't changed anything since she died." Harrison walked to a shelf and pulled out a worn copy of To Kill a Mockingbird. This was her favorite. She read it every year. "It's beautiful. All of it. It's yours now. Use it, enjoy it." Caroline would have wanted that. Elena ran her fingers along the spines. "Tell me about her. Please." They sat in the window seat and Harrison talked about his late wife for an hour. How they met at a charity fundraiser in 1982. How she had been a social worker, dedicated to helping foster children. How she had kept him grounded when his business success could have made him arrogant. "She sounds wonderful," Elena said. She was. "I think about her every day. Some people say I should have remarried years ago, found companionship. But I wasn't ready. And honestly, nobody compared. Until now." Elena asked carefully. Harrison smiled. "This is different. You're not replacing her. You're helping me close out my life well. That's its own kind of gift." They developed a routine. Mornings they had breakfast together. Harrison would read the newspaper while Elena studied. She had enrolled at San Francisco State for fall classes immediately after their conversation. Afternoons, Harrison often napped or had medical appointments. Dr. Rachel Thompson, his oncologist, visited twice a week. Elena usually spent afternoons with her mother or helping Ramon set up his new art studio in the Mission. Harrison had rented him space, insisting it was an investment in future talent. Evenings were theirs. They cooked together sometimes, simple meals that Harrison could stomach. They played chess. Harrison was teaching her, she was terrible but improving. They talked about everything. Politics, books, childhood memories, fears about death, hopes for the future. "What scares you most?" Elena asked one evening as they sat in the garden, watching the sunset paint the sky pink and orange. "Pain," Harrison admitted. "I'm not afraid of death itself. But I don't want to suffer. I don't want to be a burden." "You're not a burden." "Not yet. But I might be. The cancer could go to my brain, my bones. I might not be myself at the end." Elena took his hand. His skin was papery cool. "Then I'll remember the you that you are now. And I'll take care of whatever comes." Harrison squeezed her fingers. "You're extraordinary, you know that?" "I'm just me." "That's what makes you extraordinary." Julian became a regular presence. He stopped by most days, handling business matters, keeping Harrison updated on Sterling Industries. But he also stayed for dinner, making Elena laugh with stories about Harrison's younger days. "He once got so focused on a project he forgot to sleep for 3 days," Julian said over pasta one evening. Caroline had to physically drag him to bed. "I was building something important," Harrison protested. You were building a better filing system. It could have waited. They all laughed, and Elena realized she was genuinely happy. This strange arrangement had become something like a family. But happiness in a terminal situation is always fragile. One afternoon, Elena returned from visiting her mother to find Harrison on the floor of his bedroom, conscious but unable to get up. Dr. Thompson was already there, called by Mrs. Patterson. It's progression, Dr. Thompson said quietly. The cancer is affecting his strength. This will happen more frequently now. Elena helped Harrison into bed, her heart racing with fear. He looked so small suddenly, so frail. I'm sorry, he whispered. This is what I was afraid of. Hush. Nothing to be sorry for. Elena pulled a blanket over him. What do you need? Stay with me? Just for a while? She climbed onto the bed beside him, careful not to jostle him. He rested his head on her shoulder. Tell me about your favorite childhood memory, he said. Elena thought back. Mama took us to the beach once. I was maybe 8. We couldn't afford hotels, so we drove home the same day, 4 hours each way. But we had this perfect afternoon. Ramon built sandcastles. I found a starfish. Mama laughed more than I'd ever heard. Everything felt possible that day. That's a good memory. What's yours? My mother making pancakes every Sunday. She wasn't a great cook otherwise, but her pancakes were perfect. Fluffy, buttery. She'd make funny shapes. Stars, hearts, sometimes attempts at animals. She'd sing while she cooked. Even when we had nothing else, we had Sunday pancakes. They lay there, sharing memories until Harrison fell asleep. Elena stayed, watching him breathe, feeling the weight of what was coming. Dr. Thompson found her there an hour later. You care about him? Yes. More than I expected to. He cares about you too. He told me you've given him peace. That's a profound gift, Elena. I don't want him to die, Elena whispered, surprised by the intensity of her feeling. I know. But he will. Probably within 3 months now. The best you can do is make that time matter. Elena nodded, wiping her eyes. That evening Harrison woke up feeling better. They had soup in his bedroom and he taught her a card game his mother had taught him. I'm glad you're here, he said quietly. I was so lonely before. I didn't realize how much until you arrived. I'm glad I'm here too. Something shifted between them in that moment. The arrangement started to feel less like a contract and more like a real connection. Not romantic exactly, but deep. Important. Vanessa showed up the next day surprisingly. She brought groceries of all things. Mrs. Patterson mentioned Dad's appetite is bad. I remember he likes this ginger tea when he's nauseous. Elena was too shocked to do anything but accept the bag. That's thoughtful. Thank you. Vanessa looked uncomfortable. Look, I still think this whole situation is weird. But he seems happier. Less stressed. So, I guess you're doing something right. You could visit more, Elena said carefully. He'd like that. He doesn't say it, but I can tell. It's hard seeing him like this. Weak. I know. But he's still him. Still sharp, still funny. You're missing it if you stay away. Vanessa's perfectly made-up face cracked slightly. Did he tell you I was a disappointment? He told me you're his daughter and he loves you. But that you've made choices he doesn't understand. That's diplomatic. It's the truth. Vanessa stood there, her designer bag clutched tight. Maybe I'll come for dinner sometime. If that's okay. It's more than okay. It's your father's house. It's your house now too. For a little while. Vanessa left and Elena felt something like hope. Maybe even Vanessa could change. Maybe this strange situation could heal more than just financial problems. That night, Elena and Harrison played chess in the library. She was getting better, actually capturing one of his bishops. You're learning, Harrison said, pleased. I have a good teacher. Elena, can I ask you something personal? Of course. Are you happy? Really? She considered the question honestly. Yes. I know that sounds strange given the circumstances, but yes. I feel like I'm doing something meaningful. And I enjoy spending time with you. You're a good man, Harrison. You've changed my ending, he said softly. It was going to be lonely and bitter. Now it's companionship, laughter, purpose. That's everything. Elena reached across the chessboard and took his hand. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for saying yes. They sat there in comfortable silence, the evening light fading, two people from completely different worlds who had found unexpected friendship in the shadow of death. Outside, the city glittered. Inside, something deeper than a contract was growing. Neither of them had names for it yet. But it was real and it was changing them both. The first time Elena truly felt like Mrs. Sterling wasn't at home. It was at a charity gala for education reform, held at the Legion of Honor Museum. Harrison had insisted she needed a formal introduction to his social circle. "They'll gossip," he warned. "Probably cruelly. Can you handle that?" "I've handled worse." Julian took her shopping again, this time for a gown. They found a gorgeous red floor-length dress with a modest neckline and elegant cut. With her hair styled and minimal jewelry, Harrison lent her Caroline's pearl earrings. Elena looked like she belonged. But belonging is more than appearance. The gala was overwhelming. Hundreds of San Francisco's wealthiest citizens, all dressed to perfection, networking and air-kissing. Harrison kept Elena close, introducing her constantly. "This is my wife, Elena. Elena, this is Thomas Chin, he runs the Pacific Foundation. This is Linda Morrison, she's on the opera board." The reactions varied. Some people were genuinely warm. Others barely concealed their judgment. Elena felt their eyes assessing her age, her background, the obvious discrepancy between her and Harrison. "How did you two meet?" someone asked, saccharine sweet. "Through a mutual friend," Harrison said smoothly. Elena was working in healthcare. "We connected over our shared commitment to medical access." It wasn't a lie exactly. Just a careful truth. Vanessa was there too, surrounded by her own crowd of socialites. She watched Elena from across the room, her expression unreadable. The worst moment came when Elena stepped away to use the restroom. In the marble-tiled bathroom, she overheard two women talking by the sinks. "Did you see Harrison Sterling's new wife? She's a child. Trophy wife. Probably signed some ridiculous prenup. She'll be rich when he kicks it. I heard she was a waitress or something. Absolute gold digger." Elena stood in the stall, frozen. She wanted to defend herself, to explain. But what would she say? The truth was complicated and private. She waited until they left, then washed her hands with shaking fingers. In the mirror she looked composed, elegant, but inside she felt small. When she returned, Harrison took one look at her face and knew. "What happened?" "Nothing. Just, this is harder than I thought." "The gossip?" She nodded. Harrison took her hand and led her to the center of the ballroom floor. A jazz band was playing. "Dance with me." "Harrison, I don't know how." "I'll lead. Just follow." They danced and everyone watched. Harrison held her carefully, moving slowly but with surprising grace. He whispered as they swayed, "Those people don't matter. Their opinions are dust. What matters is that you're kind, you're genuine, and you've made my life better. Remember that. They think I'm using you. Let them think what they want. We know the truth." As the song ended, Harrison did something unexpected. He raised his voice, addressing the room. "Excuse me, everyone. I'd like to say a few words." The crowd quieted, turning to face them. "Most of you know I'm ill. What you don't know is how dark my life had become before Elena. I was preparing to die alone, bitter about my daughter's behavior, resigned to a lonely ending. Then this remarkable woman agreed to marry me. Not for money, though that's what you're all thinking. But because she has more compassion in her little finger than most of us have in our entire bodies." The room was silent. "She works with me to plan my legacy. She keeps me company when I'm in pain. She makes me laugh. She's given me peace. So if you're going to gossip, at least have the decency to get the story right. I'm the lucky one in this marriage. Not her." He kissed Elena's hand and she saw tears in his eyes. The room erupted in applause. Several people approached afterward to apologize, to welcome her properly. The shift was tangible. Vanessa appeared at Elena's elbow. "That was quite a speech. Your father is honest. He really cares about you. I can see that now." Vanessa's voice was quieter than usual, almost vulnerable. "I've been horrible. I'm sorry. Thank you for saying that. I'm trying. This is all so strange. But, maybe we could have coffee sometime? Just us." Elena smiled. "I'd like that." The evening ended well. In the car ride home, Harrison looked exhausted but satisfied. "You handled that beautifully. I just stood there." "No. You stood there with grace. That's harder." At home, Elena helped Harrison up to his room. His energy was fading fast, the evening had taken a toll. She helped him change into comfortable clothes, turned down his bed. "Will you stay?" he asked. "Just until I fall asleep?" She settled into the armchair by his bed. "Of course." "Elena, I need to tell you something. My feelings, they've changed." Her heart stuttered. "What do you mean?" "I care about you. Genuinely. This stopped being an arrangement weeks ago. At least for me. I don't expect anything and I know our situation is temporary. But I wanted you to know. You've become dear to me. Elena's throat tightened. You've become dear to me too. Really? Really? I think about you during the day. I look forward to our evenings. I worry about you. I care, Harrison. More than I planned to. He smiled, peaceful. Then I'm a lucky man. We're both lucky. As Harrison drifted to sleep, Elena sat in the darkness, processing her feelings. She cared about this man. Not as a benefactor. Not as an arrangement. As a person. As someone important. Complicated everything. And somehow it made everything simpler. The next morning, Patricia's checkup brought extraordinary news. The cancer was in remission. Complete remission. Dr. Martinez called it remarkable, unexpected, a genuine miracle of modern medicine and timing. Elena wept in her mother's arms. You're going to be okay. Because of you, baby. Because you were brave. Because Harrison was generous. That evening they celebrated at the mansion. Patricia, Ramon, Amber, Julian, and even Vanessa joined for dinner. Mrs. Patterson made a feast. Harrison, despite his own declining health, raised a glass of ginger ale. To Patricia. To second chances. To family however it's formed. They toasted, laughing and talking late into the evening. Elena watched Harrison interact with her mother, seeing the genuine warmth between them. She watched Vanessa actually smile at Ramon's jokes. She felt Amber squeeze her hand under the table. This was family. Complicated, unconventional, but real. After everyone left, Elena and Harrison walked in the garden. The night air was cool, the city lights twinkling below. Harrison moved slowly, leaning on Elena's arm. Thank you for tonight, he said. I haven't felt like part of a family in years. You are part of a family. Ours. Harrison stopped walking, turned to face her. Elena, I'm going to say something that might sound crazy. Okay. I'm falling in love with you. I know that's absurd given my age, my condition, the circumstances. But it's true. You don't have to say anything back. I just needed you to know. Elena's breath caught. She looked at this man, this kind, generous, dying man who had saved her entire family. She thought about their conversations, their chess games, the way he listened to her dreams. The way he made her feel valued, intelligent, important. It's not absurd, she whispered. Because I'm falling in love with you too. You don't have to say that. I'm not saying it because I should. I'm saying it because it's true. I didn't expect this. But you've become so important to me. I think about a future without you and it hurts. That's love, isn't it? Harrison's eyes filled with tears. I never thought I'd feel this way again. I thought Caroline was my one great love. Maybe people get more than one. Maybe love finds us when we least expect it. He pulled her close, carefully, and kissed her forehead. You've given me everything, Elena. Hope, companionship, and now this. I don't deserve you. We deserve each other. They stood there under the stars, holding each other, two people who had found something real in the most unlikely circumstances. Inside, Elena's phone buzzed. A text from Vanessa. Thank you for being good to my dad. I see it now. I'm sorry for how I acted. Let's have that coffee soon. Elena smiled and showed Harrison. He laughed softly. Miracles everywhere tonight. Yes, everywhere. They went inside, hand in hand, and for the first time, Elena went to Harrison's room not as a caretaker but as a partner. They lay together, fully clothed, just holding each other. Harrison's breathing was labored but steady. Elena felt his heartbeat against her cheek. How long do we have? She whispered. Dr. Thompson says maybe 2 months. 3 if I'm lucky. Then we'll make them count. We already are. They fell asleep like that, two souls intertwined, making the most of borrowed time. Outside the world kept spinning. But in that room, in that moment, there was only love. And that was enough. 3 days after their admission of love, Harrison woke Elena before dawn. Come with me. I want to show you something. She dressed quickly in jeans and a soft blue sweater, following him downstairs. Julian waited in the driveway with the car, grinning. Where are we going? Elena asked. You'll see. They drove north across the Golden Gate Bridge into Marin County, then up winding roads into the hills. The sun was just starting to rise, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold. Finally they stopped at a gate. Julian punched in a code, and they continued up a private road to a small house overlooking the ocean. It was perfect. Modern but warm, with floor-to-ceiling windows facing the water. Surrounded by gardens and trees, completely private. What is this? Elena breathed. It was going to be Caroline's art studio, Harrison said. We bought the land, built the house, but she died before we could finish decorating it. It's been sitting empty for 6 years. I couldn't bring myself to sell it, but I couldn't use it either. They walked through the bright, open rooms. The view was stunning. Whales could probably be seen from the deck in season. Elena, I want you to have this. Not in the will, not later. No. I'm signing it over to you today. It's yours. Harrison, I can't. Please. Stop saying you can't. Let me do this. I want you to have a place that's completely yours. Somewhere you can come after. Somewhere you can heal, create your own life. Please accept this. Elena's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded. Okay. Thank you. It's beautiful. You're beautiful. Inside and out. They spent the morning there planning how Elena might decorate it someday. Harrison grew tired quickly, so they headed back by noon. But the gift had meant something profound. Harrison was planning for Elena's future without him. He was trying to make sure she would be okay. Back at the mansion, Leonard was waiting with documents. The house transfer and something else. I'm updating my will, Harrison said. Adding specific instructions. Elena, you'll have more authority over the charitable distributions than I originally planned. I trust your judgment completely. Harrison, Vanessa will fight this. No, she won't. We talked yesterday. She understands now. It was true. Vanessa had been visiting regularly, sometimes with Elena, sometimes just with her father. The walls between them were slowly crumbling. She would never be warm, but she was trying. That afternoon, Dr. Thompson arrived for Harrison's regular checkup. Elena waited in the library while they talked. When the doctor found her later, her expression was grave. It's progressing faster than I hoped. Maybe 6 weeks now, Elena. It at most. His liver is failing. He'll decline rapidly. Elena's hands shook. Is he in pain? Some. We'll manage it with medication. But you need to prepare yourself. The end will come quickly when it comes. 6 weeks. A month and a half. Nothing. Elena found Harrison in his bedroom, staring out the window. She sat beside him on the bed. She told you, he said. Yes. I'm sorry. I wanted more time. Stop apologizing for dying. It's not your fault. Her voice broke. I just wish we'd had longer. Me too. But Elena, we've had something most people never get. Real connection. Honest love. That's worth a lifetime, even if our lifetime is short. She crawled into his arms, careful of his fragile body, and cried. He held her, stroking her hair, whispering reassurances. I'm going to miss you so much, she sobbed. I'll miss you too. But you're going to be okay. You're strong, Elena. Stronger than you know. I don't feel strong. Strength isn't about not breaking. It's about breaking and healing anyway. You'll do that. You'll build an amazing life. You'll teach those kids you talked about. You'll fall in love again with someone who can grow old with you. I don't want someone else. You will. Not now, but someday. And that's okay. I want you to be happy, Elena. Promise me you'll let yourself be happy. She pulled back, looking at his face. He looked tired, pale, but his eyes were clear. I promise. But not yet. Right now, I just want to be with you. Then let's make the most of it. They decided to stop hiding. Harrison called a small press conference, announced his illness and his marriage publicly. The media went crazy, but Harrison was clear and direct. I'm dying. I married a wonderful woman who's made my final months joyful. Any speculation about her motives is insulting and wrong. I'm giving most of my fortune to charity as planned. Elena is helping me do that work. That's the story. Now leave us alone. The directness worked. Most outlets backed off, some even ran sympathetic pieces. Elena gave one interview to a kind journalist who understood the nuance. People will judge, the journalist said. How do you handle that? By knowing the truth. Harrison and I love each other. However it started, that's what it became. We're making the most of the time we have. Everyone else's opinion is just noise. The article ran with the headline, Love in the Face of Loss, the unexpected marriage of Harrison Sterling. It was respectful, honest, and somehow helped the gossip die down. Ramon's art show opened that week. Harrison insisted on attending despite his weakness. The gallery was packed. Ramon's work, large abstract pieces in brilliant colors, had drawn serious attention. 3 pieces sold opening night. You did this, Ramon told Harrison. You gave me the space to create. You did this, Harrison corrected. You have real talent. I just cleared the obstacles. Elena watched them talk, her brother and her husband, both so important to her. She thought about how one person's generosity could ripple outward, changing multiple lives. At home that night, Harrison collapsed again. This time he couldn't hide the pain. Elena called Dr. Thompson, who adjusted his medications. "This is the beginning of the final stage," the doctor said quietly. "He needs hospice care. We can set it up here at home." "Do it," Elena said. "Whatever he needs." The hospice team arrived the next day. A hospital bed, monitoring equipment, a nurse who would visit daily. Harrison hated it all, hated the visible reminder of his decline. "I don't want you to see me like this," he told Elena. "Too bad. You're stuck with me." She meant it. She helped him bathe, dressed him in comfortable clothes, read to him when he was too tired to read himself. She slept in a chair by his bed, waking at every sound. Vanessa visited daily now. She brought flowers, magazines, sometimes just sat quietly. One afternoon, Elena gave them privacy. When she returned, both father and daughter had red eyes. "We talked," Vanessa said later. "Really talked. I apologized for being awful. He apologized for being too hard on me. I think we're okay now. I'm glad. Thank you, Elena, for giving him peace, and for helping me find my way back to him." Patricia visited often too. She would sit with Harrison talking about old times, about gratitude, about faith. Harrison, never religious, listened to her prayers with respect. "Your mother is special," he told Elena. "She survived impossible things with grace. You're like her." "I hope so." Julian managed the business, keeping Harrison updated but not overwhelmed. He had become a true friend to both of them, steady and supportive. One evening, exactly 5 weeks after Dr. Thompson's dire prognosis, Harrison asked Elena to marry him again. "We're already married," she said, confused. "Legally. But I want to do it right. With vows we choose. With our family. A real ceremony. Will you?" "Of course." "Yes." They planned it for the garden 3 days later. A minister, close friends, family. This time, Elena wore a simple white dress. Harrison wore his navy suit. They stood under an arbor covered in roses, facing each other. The vows they wrote were simple and devastating. "Elena," Harrison said, his voice weak but clear, "you saved me from a lonely death. You gave me joy when I expected only darkness. You are the unexpected blessing of my life. I promise to love you with everything I have for all the time I have. You are my heart." Elena could barely speak through tears. "Harrison, you taught me that kindness is real. That love can come when you least expect it. That every ending can be beautiful if you face it with courage. I promise to honor your memory, your legacy, and the love we share. You are my miracle." They kissed and everyone cried. Even Vanessa. Even Julian, who never cried. The reception was small but perfect. Harrison managed to eat a few bites of cake. They danced again, slower this time, Harrison leaning heavily on Elena. "Thank you," he whispered. "This was everything. I love you. I love you too. So much." That night, they lay in his hospital bed together, Elena curled carefully against him. His breathing was labored, his skin paper-thin. But he was smiling. "No regrets?" she asked. "Not a single one. You. Only that we didn't have more time. We had enough. We loved well. That's all that matters." They fell asleep like that, husband and wife in truth, two souls joined by the strangest of circumstances and the deepest of loves. Outside, the world continued. Inside, time stood still, holding them in its gentle hands for just a little longer. Harrison's good days became rare. Most mornings he couldn't get out of bed. The hospice nurse, a kind woman named Barbara, came twice daily. Elena learned to administer medications, adjust the bed, monitor his comfort. But they still talked. Harrison's mind remained sharp even as his body failed. "Tell me your plans," he would say. "For after. I'll finish my degree. Start the scholarship fund we planned. Maybe travel a little. See things we talked about." "Good. Don't hide away. Live, Elena. Live loudly." "I will. I promise." Vanessa's transformation had been remarkable. She showed up one morning with a lawyer, not to contest anything, but to help Elena understand the estate documents. "You'll need to know this," Vanessa said, spreading papers on the dining table. "The foundations, the investments, the real estate holdings. It's overwhelming, but Julian and I will help you navigate it." "You're being so kind," Elena said, still surprised. "I wasted years being angry. About my parents' divorce, about Dad's expectations, about never feeling good enough. But watching you care for him, I realized love isn't about blood. It's about showing up. You showed up. I didn't. I'm trying to now." They worked together that afternoon, Vanessa explaining the complicated financial structures Harrison had built. Elena's head spun, but she took notes, asked questions. He really trusts me with all this, Elena murmured. He should. You've proven yourself 100 times over. But not everyone had Vanessa's change of heart. The attack came from an unexpected direction. A distant cousin, Gerald Sterling, appeared at the mansion one Tuesday afternoon. Elena had never heard his name. He was in his 50s, expensively dressed and furious. I want to see Harrison, he demanded at the door. He's resting. Who are you? Family. Real family, not some opportunistic girl playing nurse. Elena kept her voice calm. Mr. Sterling isn't well enough for visitors without appointments. If you'd like to call Leonard Kim. I don't need an appointment to see my cousin. Move aside. Julian appeared from the study, his expression hardening. Gerald. I thought we made it clear you're not welcome here. Harrison is being manipulated. Look at this. Gerald thrust a folder at Elena. Private investigator reports. Your little wife isn't the saint she pretends to be. Elena took the folder, her hands steady despite her racing heart. Inside were photos of her, at her old jobs at her apartment with Ramon. Bank records showing her debts. Nothing scandalous, just evidence of her poverty. So, Elena said. Harrison knew all of this. I never hid my situation. You're a gold digger. You saw a dying old man and pounced. I'm contesting the will. No way some nobody gets to control the Sterling fortune. The fortune goes to charity, Julian said coldly. Elena gets a small portion. You get nothing because Harrison specifically wrote you out 15 years ago for stealing from the company. Gerald's face reddened. That was never proven. It was. You signed an agreement to stay away in exchange for not being prosecuted. This visit violates that agreement. Leave now or I call the police. He's not thinking clearly. The cancer, the medications. She's influenced him. I have doctor statements confirming Harrison's mental competency. Leonard has witnesses to every document signing. You have no case. Leave. Gerald turned to Elena, his expression ugly. You think you've won. But everyone will know what you are. A leech. When he's dead, you'll have nothing but dirty money. Get out of my house, Elena said quietly. The authority in her voice surprised even her. Now. Julian physically escorted Gerald to the door. After he left, Elena's hands started shaking. Julian guided her to a chair. That was intense. You handled it perfectly. He's going to cause problems. Let him try. He has no legal standing. But I'll have building security updated. He won't get in again. Upstairs, Harrison had slept through it all. Elena decided not to tell him. He didn't need the stress. But Gerald wasn't finished. Over the next week, he leaked information to tabloids. The papers ran stories. Billionaire's child bride, love or con? Sterling's mysterious wife, what's she really after? The articles included those photos, presented to look damning. Elena working late nights. Elena's old apartment. Implications without direct accusations, but the message was clear. She was an opportunist. The harassment extended online. Vanessa called one evening, her voice tight. Have you seen Twitter? There's a hashtag trending. It's ugly. Elena looked. Hashtag Gold Digger. Elena was full of strangers dissecting her life, her choices, her marriage. People she'd never met calling her horrible names. She closed the app, hands shaking. Amber came over immediately. Don't read it. Those people don't know you. But everyone thinks they do. The people who matter know the truth. Harrison, your mom, Ramon, me, Julian, even Vanessa. That's your circle. Everyone else is just noise. That night, Elena broke down. The stress of Harrison's illness combined with the public attack was overwhelming. She cried in the bathroom, trying to stay quiet so Harrison wouldn't hear. But he did. He called for her weekly. When she came to his bed, her face blotchy from crying, he knew immediately. What happened? She told him everything. Gerald, the tabloids, the social media pylon. Harrison's face went hard with anger. Call Leonard. Now. Leonard arrived within an hour. Harrison, despite his weakness, dictated a statement with perfect clarity. Gerald Sterling is a thief and a liar who was removed from the family business years ago. His accusations against my wife are motivated by greed and bitterness. Elena Rodriguez Sterling married me knowing I was dying. She has asked for nothing except to be allowed to care for me. She has shown me more love in these months than most people receive in a lifetime. Anyone who disparages her character will face legal action. She is my wife, my choice, and my heart. Leave her alone. Leonard released the statement immediately. By morning the narrative had shifted. Other outlets picked up Harrison's defense. People came forward with stories of Elena's kindness. Neighbors she'd helped, co-workers she'd covered for, even the owner of the grocery store where she used to work. She used to buy groceries for the homeless guy outside, the owner told a reporter. With her own money when she barely had any. That's who she is. The tide turned. #WeLoveElena started trending. Gerald's background became public knowledge, discrediting him further. But the damage had been done. Elena felt exposed, violated. She hated that strangers thought they knew her story. Harrison held her that night, his frail arms surprisingly strong. I'm sorry. I brought this into your life. No. You brought good things. Gerald brought this. Still. You didn't sign up for public scrutiny. I signed up for you. Everything else is just part of it. Dr. Thompson visited the next morning. Harrison's condition had worsened during the stress. His liver was barely functioning. His skin had a yellow tinge. Days, maybe, the doctor told Elena privately. A week at most. Keep him comfortable. Tell him everything you need to say. Elena felt the floor drop out from under her. Not ready. She wasn't ready. But death doesn't wait for readiness. She spent that day and the next at Harrison's side. They talked when he could. When he couldn't, she read to him from his favorite books. Patricia visited. Ramon brought Harrison a small painting, a sunrise over the ocean. Something beautiful, Ramon said. For a beautiful soul. Harrison smiled at the painting. Thank you. Hang it where I can see it. Vanessa arrived with flowers every morning. She had started saying I love you to her father, making up for years of withheld affection. Julian brought business updates but spent most visits just sitting quietly, being present. On the 5th day after Gerald's attack, Harrison had a moment of clarity. He called everyone to his room. Elena, Vanessa, Julian, Patricia, Ramon, Leonard, even Amber. Thank you, he said, his voice a whisper. All of you. For making my last chapter beautiful. Elena, you most of all. You gave me everything. You gave me everything too, Elena said, tears streaming. Vanessa, I'm proud of who you're becoming. Keep growing. Be generous. It's the only thing that matters. I will, Daddy. I promise. He looked at each person, saying small words of gratitude, of love, of goodbye. When everyone else left, only Elena remained. I'm tired, Harrison admitted. Then sleep. I'll be right here. Always. Always. He squeezed her hand weakly. Love of my life. Unexpected, perfect love of my life. Love of mine too. He closed his eyes, smiling. His breathing slowed, evened out. Elena lay beside him, holding him carefully, whispering all the things she'd needed to say. How grateful she was. How much he'd changed her. How she'd never forget him. The night stretched on. Outside the city lived. Inside time held its breath. Harrison's final gift was peace. And Elena, his unexpected wife, gave him the same. The hospice bed had been moved to the sunroom at Harrison's request. He wanted to see the garden, the bay, the sky. Elena had filled the room with flowers, roses, lilies, the bright peonies he loved. It had been 3 days since his moment of clarity. 3 days of watching him slip further away. He slept more than he was awake. When conscious, he was often confused, calling for Caroline, asking about business meetings from decades ago. But occasionally he surfaced. Knew where he was. Knew Elena. Still here, he whispered one morning, seeing her in the chair beside him. Always. You should rest. Real bed. I'm fine. I want to be here. He smiled weakly. Stubborn. You like stubborn. I like you. Those moments of lucidity became precious. Elena memorized them, the exact tone of his voice, the way his eyes crinkled despite his weakness, the feel of his hand in hers. Dr. Thompson came daily now. Barbara, the hospice nurse, stayed overnight. But Elena remained the primary caregiver, the constant presence. He's comfortable, Barbara assured her. The pain medication is working. He's not suffering. How much longer? Hours, maybe a day or two. His body is shutting down. But he's peaceful, Elena. That's all we can ask for. Patricia visited that afternoon. She had regained her strength, her cancer in full remission, and she wanted to thank the man who had saved her life. She sat beside Harrison's bed, taking his hand. Harrison, it's Patricia. Elena's mother. His eyes opened, surprisingly focused. Patricia. Beautiful Patricia. I wanted to thank you. For everything. For saving my life. For loving my daughter. For being the miracle we needed. Elena saved me, he whispered. Tell her, keep being kind. World needs it. I will. We all will. Patricia prayed then, a simple heartfelt prayer of gratitude and peace. Harrison listened, his eyes closed, a small smile on his lips. When she finished, he squeezed her hand. Good mother. Elena is, because of you. Patricia kissed his forehead. Rest now. You've done so much good. After she left, Elena climbed carefully onto the bed beside Harrison. His breathing was labored but steady. She talked to him about their plans for the scholarship fund, about the students who would benefit, about his legacy. You changed so many lives, she said. Including mine. Especially mine. I was drowning and you threw me a lifeline. You gave me hope when I had none. You showed me that kindness is real, that good people exist. You loved me when I didn't expect to be loved. Thank you, Harrison. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for everything. His hand twitched in hers. She wasn't sure if he heard, but she hoped he did. Vanessa arrived at sunset. She had been coming twice a day, sometimes just sitting quietly. Elena gave them privacy, standing in the hallway while Vanessa talked to her father. I'm sorry I wasted so much time being angry, Vanessa's voice drifted through the doorway. I'm sorry I didn't see your kindness until the end. I'm going to do better, Daddy. I'm going to help Elena with the foundation. I'm going to be the daughter you deserved. I love you. I should have said it more. I love you so much. Elena heard her crying and went back in. The two women stood on either side of Harrison's bed, holding his hands, united in grief and love. He's a good man, Vanessa said. The best. I'm glad he had you at the end. I'm glad he wasn't alone. He had both of us. That's what matters. Julian visited after Vanessa left. He brought a recording, Harrison's favorite symphony. They played it softly, filling the room with music. Harrison's face relaxed, became peaceful. He told me once that music was proof of God, Julian said quietly. Something so beautiful had to come from somewhere transcendent. He might have been right. Elena, I want you to know, you've been extraordinary through all of this. Harrison was lucky to have you. We all are. I'm the lucky one. We're all lucky. That's the point of love, isn't it? Everyone wins. That night, Elena refused to leave. Barbara set up a cot beside the bed. Elena lay there, her hands stretched out to hold Harrison's. Around midnight, his breathing changed. Barbara checked the monitors, then looked at Elena with gentle eyes. It's time. This is it. Do you want me to call anyone? Not yet. Let him have peace. Elena climbed onto the bed one last time, cradling Harrison's frail body in her arms. His breathing was shallow, irregular. She talked to him softly, constantly. I love you. You're safe. You're loved. You did everything right. You built something beautiful. You helped so many people. You're going to see Caroline soon. She's waiting for you. It's okay to go. I'll be okay. I promise I'll be okay. Thank you for everything. Thank you for loving me. I'll never forget you. Never. You're in my heart forever. His breathing slowed. Paused. Resumed. Slowed again. Elena kissed his forehead, his cheek, his hand. I love you, Harrison Sterling. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. One more breath. Then another. Then silence. She felt the exact moment his spirit left. The room didn't change, but something fundamental shifted. He was gone. Safe journey, she whispered. Safe journey home. Barbara confirmed what Elena already knew. 4:17 a.m. November 10th. Harrison Sterling, age 73, had died peacefully, surrounded by love. Elena held him for a long time, not ready to let go. Barbara gave her space, not rushing. Finally, Elena kissed him one last time and stood. I need to make calls. She called Leonard first. Then Vanessa. Then her mother. Her hands shook, her voice broke, but she made each call. By dawn, the house was full of people. Family, the funeral home staff, Dr. Thompson. Everyone moved around Elena with careful gentleness. She accepted condolences, signed papers, made decisions. She functioned because she had to. But inside she was breaking. The man who had saved her, who had loved her, who had shown her a different kind of life, was gone. And the world felt impossibly empty. Have you ever lost someone who changed your life? Someone who showed you what real love looks like? Share your story in the comments. Subscribe to stay with Elena through what comes next. Sometimes the hardest part isn't saying goodbye, it's learning to live without them. The funeral was held 4 days later at Grace Cathedral. Harrison had left specific instructions. Dignified but not somber, celebrating life rather than mourning death. The church was packed. Hundreds of people whose lives Harrison had touched filled the pews. Business leaders, charity recipients, former employees, People Elena had never met who had stories about Harrison's quiet generosity. Elena sat in the front row between Vanessa and Patricia, wearing a black dress, the only time she broke her own color rule. She had insisted on speaking, despite everyone's concerns about her emotional state. When it was time, she walked to the pulpit on steady legs. She looked out at the sea of faces and began. Harrison Sterling saved my life. Not metaphorically. Actually saved it. I was drowning in debt, watching my mother die because I couldn't afford her treatments. I had exhausted every option. I was out of hope. Then this man, this stranger, offered me an impossible solution. A contract marriage in exchange for solving my problems. I said yes because I was desperate. I stayed because I fell in love. Her voice didn't waver. She had practiced this, needed to get it right. People will always question our marriage. The age difference, the circumstances, the timing. Let them question. I know the truth. Harrison and I found something real in the middle of impossible circumstances. He taught me that kindness isn't weakness. That generosity isn't foolish. That love can bloom in the strangest soil. He gave me security, yes. But more importantly, he gave me hope. He showed me that good people exist. That wealth can be used for good. That every life has value. She paused, gathering strength. Harrison's legacy isn't his money. It's the lives he changed. The students who'll go to college on scholarships bearing his name. The medical patients who'll get treatment through the foundation he built. The employees he mentored. The daughter he never gave up on. And yes, the broke, desperate girl he chose to marry and then chose to love. We all carry pieces of him forward. That's immortality. That's what matters. She stepped down and the applause was thunderous. Julian spoke next, sharing business stories that made people laugh. Vanessa spoke, her voice breaking multiple times, about learning too late to appreciate her father. Patricia said a prayer. Ramon read a poem he had written. They buried Harrison in Calma, next to Caroline. Elena had arranged it with Vanessa's approval. The two people he had loved most, together finally. At the graveside, Elena placed roses on the casket. Until we meet again, she whispered. The will reading happened the next day at Leonard's office. Vanessa, Julian, Elena, and several foundation board members attended. Leonard read through Harrison's meticulously detailed instructions. Vanessa received $5 million and the Napa property. Julian received $2 million and a stake in Sterling Industries. Various employees received generous gifts. The bulk of the estate, nearly $2 billion, went to the charitable foundations with Elena as the primary trustee. Elena received the Pacific Avenue mansion, the Marin House, $5 million in cash, and full authority over the charitable distributions. He also left you this, Leonard said, handing Elena a sealed envelope with her name in Harrison's handwriting. She opened it with shaking hands. My dearest Elena, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I hope I went peacefully with you beside me. That's the death I wanted. Thank you for giving me joy in my final months. Thank you for loving a dying old man. Thank you for being exactly who you are, kind, genuine, strong. Don't mourn too long. I had a good life and you made the ending perfect. Now live yours. Finish your degree. Teach those children. Fall in love again, I mean it, don't you dare stay alone out of some misguided loyalty to my memory. Travel. Create. Be happy. Use the money wisely. You have good instincts. Trust them. Work with Vanessa, she's better than she thinks she is. Trust Julian, he's loyal to the end. Every sunrise, know I loved you. Every act of kindness you do, know you learned it partly from me, partly from your magnificent mother, and partly from your own beautiful soul. I'll love you forever, even from whatever comes next. All my heart, Harrison. Elena read it twice, then held it to her chest. He really loved me. He really did, Vanessa said softly. I saw it every day. You gave him peace. He gave me everything. And now you give it forward. That's how love works. The next weeks were a blur of legal proceedings, paperwork, and decisions. Elena threw herself into work, establishing the Harrison Sterling Education Foundation with a focus on students from low-income backgrounds. She hired staff, set up application processes, recruited board members. Vanessa helped, surprisingly effective at fundraising and public relations. They developed a genuine friendship, bonding over their shared love of Harrison and their determination to honor his legacy. Julian managed the business interests, ensuring Harrison's companies continued to operate ethically and profitably. The profits funded the charitable work, exactly as Harrison had planned. Ramon's art career continued to flourish. He created a piece for the foundation's headquarters, an enormous canvas of a sunrise in brilliant reds, oranges, and golds. New Beginnings, he titled it. Patricia volunteered at the foundation, helping other families navigate cancer treatment options. Her remission held strong, and she spoke often about Harrison's gift giving her a second life. 2 months after the funeral, Elena received a visitor at the mansion. A young woman, 24, with a baby on her hip and desperation in her eyes. "I saw your story," the woman said. "About Mr. Sterling helping you. I'm in trouble. My baby needs surgery. I can't afford it. I don't know where else to turn." Elena looked at this woman, seeing herself months earlier. She made a decision that took approximately 3 seconds. "Tell me everything. We'll figure this out." She brought the woman inside, got her story, and by the end of the afternoon had arranged for the baby's surgery to be covered through the foundation's medical fund. The woman cried with relief. "How can I ever repay you?" "By helping someone else someday. That's how this works. Kindness forward." After she left, Elena stood in the foyer, looking at Harrison's portrait that hung on the wall. She had commissioned it from one of Ramon's artist friends. Harrison in his garden, smiling, peaceful. "I get it now," she said to the painting. "You didn't save me so I could be grateful. You saved me so I could save others. The gift keeps giving. That's the point." She swore she saw the painted eyes twinkle. That night, she visited Harrison's grave for the first time since the funeral. She brought fresh flowers and sat on the grass beside the headstone. "I miss you," she said aloud. "Every day I miss you. But I'm doing what you asked. I'm living. I'm helping people. I'm being kind. You'd be proud, I think. At least, I hope you would be." The wind rustled through the trees. A bird sang. The late afternoon sun painted everything gold. "I loved you. I still love you. Thank you for everything. Watch over me, okay? I'm going to make you proud." She placed the flowers and stood. Walking back to her car, Elena felt something shift. Not healing exactly, but acceptance. Harrison was gone, but his impact remained. Through her, through the foundation, through everyone he had touched, he lived on. That was enough. It had to be enough. And somehow, impossibly, it was. 6 months had passed since Harrison's death. Elena sat in her office at the foundation headquarters, reviewing scholarship applications. They had awarded 200 scholarships in the spring semester. The goal for fall was 500. Her desk held photos: Harrison laughing in the garden, Patricia at her last cancer check, still clear, Ramon at his gallery opening, Vanessa at the foundation gala. Her family, biological and chosen. A knock on the door interrupted her focus. Amber peeked in, grinning. "You have a visitor. Someone special." A girl, maybe 17, walked in nervously. Amber excused herself, closing the door. The girl stood there, clutching a folder. "Mrs. Sterling? I'm Destiny Johnson. I got the scholarship. The full ride to state. Because of you." Elena stood, smiling. "Because of your grades and your essay. You earned it. But you made it possible." Destiny's eyes filled with tears. "My mom's sick. I'm working 2 jobs. I thought college was impossible. Then I got the letter. Everything's covered. Books, housing, tuition. Everything." Elena came around the desk and hugged this girl who reminded her so much of herself. "That's exactly what this is for. Tell me about your mom." They talked for an hour. Destiny's mother had lupus. Medical bills were crushing them. Destiny worked at a coffee shop and a grocery store just like Elena had. The parallels were eerie. When Destiny left, she turned at the door. "I'm going to be a doctor. Because someone helped me when I needed it. Then I'm going to help others. That's how it works, right?" "That's exactly how it works." After she left, Elena sat back at her desk, smiling. This was Harrison's legacy. This was why everything had happened. Her phone rang. "Vanessa. Lunch today? I have news." They met at a bistro in Hayes Valley. Vanessa looked different lately, softer somehow. She wore less makeup, smiled more often. "I'm dating someone," Vanessa announced over salads. "His name is Thomas. He's a teacher. Public school, doesn't have money, doesn't care about mine. We met at the foundation event. He asked me about Dad and we talked for 3 hours. Nice. Real." "Vanessa, that's wonderful. Dad would have liked him. He's kind. Like you. Like Dad was." She paused. "Thank you for not giving up on me. I was awful to you. You were scared. I understand that. Still, you were patient. You helped me become better. That's what Dad wanted. I see that now." They talked about foundation business, about upcoming events, about life. Vanessa had become a genuine friend, not just Harrison's daughter. They texted daily, collaborated seamlessly, understood each other. "Are you dating?" Vanessa asked carefully. It's been 6 months. Dad would want you to be happy. Not yet. I'm not ready. But I'm not close to it anymore. That's progress. It is. And when you are ready, some lucky person is going to get an incredible partner. That evening, Elena drove to the Marin house. She had started spending weekends there, finding peace in the ocean view. She had decorated it simply, with bright colors and comfortable furniture. It felt like home. She made dinner, opened a bottle of wine, and sat on the deck watching the waves. The sunset painted the sky in brilliant shades of pink and purple. Seals barked on the rocks below. Everything felt alive and beautiful. Her phone buzzed. A text from Leonard. Board meeting confirmed for Tuesday. Also, your degree confirmation came through. Congratulations, Mrs. Sterling. BA in Education, magna cum laude. Elena stared at the message. She had finished her degree. Graduated with honors. Because Harrison had made it possible. She typed back, "Thank you for everything, Leonard. Harrison would be so proud. We all are." Elena set down the phone and looked out at the water. "I did it," she said aloud. "I'm a teacher. A real teacher." She imagined Harrison's response. Probably something about always knowing she would, about believing in her from the start. The truth was, she had believed in herself more because he had believed in her first. That was the gift. Not the money, not the house, not even the love. The gift was confidence. The knowledge that she was worthy of good things, capable of achieving dreams. She enrolled in a credential program to start in fall. By next year she would be teaching. 3rd grade, she thought. The age where kids still loved learning, where one good teacher could change a trajectory. Ramon called that night, excited. "I sold 3 pieces today. Big pieces. A gallery in New York wants to show my work. This is really happening, Lainey. I'm so proud of you. It's because Harrison gave me the space to create. I wish I could thank him. He knows. Wherever he is, he knows." "Do you think about him every day?" "Every day. Sometimes every hour. But it hurts less now. Now it's more like gratitude. He was here, he loved me, he changed everything. That's a gift." "It is. I love you, sis." "Love you too." Patricia came over the next morning for their weekly brunch. They cooked together, pancakes in shapes just like Harrison's mother had made. It had become their tradition, a way to honor him. "How are you really?" Patricia asked as they ate on the sunny deck. "Better. Not great, but better. I'm building a life." That's what he wanted. "You're doing more than that. You're building a legacy. The foundation has helped over 300 families now. That's extraordinary. It's what the money was always meant to do. I'm just the vehicle. You're so much more than that, baby. You're the heart of it." Harrison saw that. That's why he chose you. After Patricia left, Elena walked down to the beach. The water was cold but the sun was warm. She sat on the sand, digging her toes in, watching the waves. A couple walked by, elderly, holding hands. The sight made her ache. That's what she and Harrison would have been if they'd had time. Growing old together, comfortable in their love. But they hadn't had time. And wishing for what couldn't be was pointless. She had what she had: memories, purpose, love that had transformed her. That was enough. It had to be enough. Her phone buzzed again. "Julian, this time. Quarterly report looks amazing. Foundation assets grew 15%. You're a natural at this. Harrison taught me well. He gave you the tools. You built the house." Elena smiled at the metaphor. Maybe that was true. Harrison had provided opportunity, but she had done the work. She had shown up, learned, grown, become someone new. Mrs. Harrison Sterling, educator, philanthropist, survivor. Not bad for a girl who had been drowning 6 months earlier. The next week, Elena gave a talk at a high school in the Tenderloin. At-risk kids, the kind Harrison had specifically wanted to help. She told them her story without embellishment. The poverty, the debt, the desperation. The unlikely solution. The grief and the growth. "I'm not special," she concluded. "I'm just someone who said yes to help when it was offered. Who worked hard. Who cared about people. That's all it takes. When opportunity comes, grab it. When you succeed, lift others up. That's the cycle. That's how we change the world." The students gave her a standing ovation. Afterward, a dozen of them asked about scholarships, about the foundation, about hope. "You all have it in you," she told each one. "You're worthy of good things. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Driving home, Elena felt Harrison's presence strongly. Not literally, but in her heart. She could almost hear his voice. "See? You're changing lives. That's what matters." "I learned from the best," she said aloud. That Saturday, the foundation hosted a gala fundraiser. Elena wore a stunning blue gown, her hair up, Caroline's pearls around her neck. She moved through the crowd with confidence, thanking donors, sharing impact stories, being the face of Harrison's legacy. Vanessa worked the room beside her, equally effective. Thomas, her new boyfriend, looked impressed and slightly overwhelmed. Julian managed logistics flawlessly. Ramon's art decorated the venue, with pieces available for auction. Every single one sold for above the asking price. Patricia manned the information booth, directing people to donation stations, telling anyone who would listen about the man who had saved her life. It was perfect. The kind of event Harrison would have loved. During the program, Elena gave a speech. She talked about kindness, about second chances, about the ripple effects of generosity. She talked about Harrison without crying, celebrating him rather than mourning. Harrison Sterling believed that wealth was a responsibility, not a privilege. He believed that everyone deserved a chance. He proved that love can come in unexpected forms and that kindness changes lives. Tonight, we honor him by continuing his work. Every dollar raised goes directly to students and families who need help. That's Harrison's legacy. That's our mission. Thank you for being part of it. The gala raised $1.7 million. Elena stayed until the last guest left, exhausted but fulfilled. In the car on the way home, she looked at the city lights. San Francisco, the place where everything had changed. Where a desperate phone call had led to an impossible marriage that had become real love. She thought about the girl she had been, scared, broke, hopeless. She thought about the woman she was now, educated, secure, purposeful. Harrison had been the bridge between those two versions of herself. At home, she walked through the quiet mansion. It didn't feel empty anymore. It felt like hers. She had made it a home, filled it with light and purpose. In the bedroom, she changed into comfortable clothes and sat at the desk. She pulled out Harrison's letter, the one he had left her, and read it again for probably the 100th time. Use the money wisely. You have good instincts. Trust them. I'm trying, she whispered. I'm really trying. She wrote in her journal, something she'd started after Harrison died. A way to process, to remember, to grow. Today was a good day. The gala was successful. Students will get scholarships because of it. Lives will change. I saw Destiny Johnson there, volunteering. The girl I met 6 months ago now giving back. That's the cycle. That's the point. I miss Harrison. I think I always will. But the grief is different now. Less sharp, more like an old friend. A reminder of what I had, what I learned, what I became. He told me to live loudly. I'm doing that. I'm teaching soon. I'm helping people. I'm building something that will outlast me just like it's outlasting him. I think that's what love is. Not just the time you have together, but what you do with what they gave you. The ripples that never stop spreading. Thank you, Harrison, for everything. I promise I'll keep being kind. I promise I'll keep helping people. I promise I'll live well. You changed my life. Now I'm changing others. That's your legacy. That's my promise. She closed the journal and looked at Harrison's photo on the nightstand. Good night, my love. Watch over me. She turned off the light and lay in the darkness, feeling at peace. Tomorrow she would help more people. Next week, she would start her teaching credential program. Next month, the foundation would award another round of scholarships. The work would continue. The love would continue. The legacy would grow. Harrison Sterling had saved Elena Rodriguez when she was drowning. Now Elena Sterling was throwing lifelines to others. The cycle was complete. The promise was kept. And somewhere she hoped Harrison was smiling. Outside, the stars shone bright. In the garden, roses bloomed. At the foundation, applications piled up from hopeful students. In hospitals, families received approval for treatments they couldn't have afforded otherwise. In schools, children learned from teachers who had been given second chances. All because one man had been generous. All because one woman had said yes. All because kindness had led the way. The story that began with desperation ended with hope. The contract that started as a transaction ended with love. The marriage that seemed impossible ended with a legacy that would never die. Harrison and Elena's story wasn't about money or age or circumstances. It was about the transformative power of kindness, the beauty of unlikely connections, and the truth that love, in all its forms, is the only thing that really matters. Their ending was his beginning in eternity. Her beginning of a life well lived. And for everyone they touched, a beginning of hope. That's the gift they gave the world. That's the story worth telling. That's love.